Blind to the bread. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all on a journey that's full of potential, yet often clouded by distractions, doubts, and a lack of direction. It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life, rushing from one task to the next, chasing after success and striving to reach our goals. But what happens when, in our pursuit of something greater, we become blind to the simple truths right in front of us? There's a saying, don't be so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. We get so caught up in the grind, in our endless pursuit of success, that we often forget the simple joys, the basic needs, the foundation that holds it all together. This is what I call being blind to the bread. We get so focused on the grand vision, the shiny future, that we miss the nourishment, the bread that sustains us in the present. You see, bread isn't just a physical object. Bread represents the essential things in life, the things that truly nourish us, that give us strength to move forward. It's the small moments of connection with loved ones. It's the time you take to care for your health. It's the lessons you learn along the way, the steps you take towards bettering yourself, even when no one is watching. Too many people chase after fame, fortune, and status, thinking that these things will bring them happiness. But what they fail to realize is that it's the bread, the simple, everyday actions, the values we live by, that bring us true fulfillment. These are the things that matter most. Without them, everything else crumbles. We often get so consumed by the big picture that we forget that it's made up of small pieces. Just like making bread, you need flour, yeast, water, and time. If you neglect any one of those ingredients, the loaf won't rise. The same goes for your life. If you neglect the small, fundamental things, you won't reach the heights you're dreaming of. What if you stopped looking for the big win and focused on what you have right now? The relationships, the knowledge, the opportunities at your fingertips. These things are the bread you've been overlooking. You're so focused on the future, so focused on the someday, that you can't see that everything you need to succeed is already in your hands. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you took a moment to appreciate what you have right now? The friendships, the lessons, the growth. Those are the ingredients that, when mixed together with effort, will lead you to the success you desire. But you have to be present. You have to see the bread for what it is and appreciate it for what it brings to your life. We live in a world that's always pushing us forward, telling us we need more, we need better, we need faster. But sometimes the key to moving forward is stopping long enough to appreciate what's already here. If you want to achieve great things, you must first recognize and nourish the small things. So, take a moment today. Stop chasing after the distant prize. Look around. What bread do you already have in your life? How can you nurture it, appreciate it, and build on it? Because the truth is, the foundation for success is already there, waiting for you to see it. Don't be blind to the bread. Nourish it, savor it, and you'll find that everything else falls into place. Thank you. The power of presence. Success isn't just about chasing the future. It's about appreciating the present and recognizing the small things that matter most. Nourish what you have. Don't overlook the simple, foundational aspects of life. Relationships, health, and daily growth are the bread that supports your dreams. Small steps lead to big wins. Big achievements are made up of small, consistent actions. Never underestimate the power of the daily grind. Savor your journey. Stop focusing solely on the destination. Embrace the lessons, challenges, and victories that come along the way. The importance of simplicity. True fulfillment comes not from more, but from recognizing and nurturing what you already have. Build on what's already there. Recognize your current strengths and resources. They are the foundation for future success. Success isn't just about chasing the future. It's about appreciating the present and recognizing the small things that matter most. Too often, people become so consumed by their ambitions, goals, and dreams that they overlook the very moments that are shaping their journey. They push forward relentlessly, thinking that happiness and fulfillment exist somewhere in the distance, always just out of reach. But the truth is, the foundation for everything we desire is already around us. We just have to open our eyes and see it. We live in a fast-pacing world that glorifies hustle, achievement, and the pursuit of greatness. While there's nothing wrong with striving for more, the problem arises when we become so fixated on the end goal that we forget to appreciate what's happening right now. There's a mindset that tells us once I reach this level, once I make this amount of money, once I achieve this milestone, then I'll finally be happy. But this way of thinking places fulfillment in a future that never truly arrives, because the moment one goal is achieved, another immediately takes its place. This cycle keeps people constantly chasing, always moving, but never feeling fully satisfied. What they don't realize is that life isn't lived in the future. It's happening in real time, right in front of them. And when people are so focused on what's next, they become blind to the opportunities, the lessons, and the blessings that already exist in their lives. The power of presence is understanding that happiness, success, and growth are not just destinations, but experiences that must be embraced in the moment. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with this concept is because they equate slowing down with losing momentum. They fear that if they stop to appreciate what they have now, they'll lose sight of where they're going. But it's the opposite. Being present doesn't mean giving up on the future. It means strengthening your connection to the journey so that when you arrive at your goals, you do so with wisdom, gratitude, and a sense of fulfillment. Think about someone climbing a mountain. If they are only focused on reaching the peak, they miss the beauty of the climb. They don't see the breathtaking views along the way. They don't acknowledge how far they've come. And they don't allow themselves to appreciate the growth happening in real time. They become so obsessed with reaching the top that when they finally get there, they feel exhausted, unfulfilled, and immediately start looking for another peak to climb. But the climber who takes time to pause, to look around, to appreciate the steps they've taken, this is the one who finds true joy in the journey, not just the destination. Many people have everything they once prayed for, yet they don't even recognize it because they're too busy looking ahead. The job they once dreamed of now feels like a stepping stone to something better. The relationships they long for now seem ordinary. The progress they've made is overshadowed by thoughts of how much further they have to go. This mindset keeps people stuck in a perpetual state of dissatisfaction, always wanting more, but never truly enjoying what they already have. The power of presence is about breaking free from this cycle. It's about shifting your perspective so that instead of constantly chasing after something new, you learn to appreciate what's already here. It's about recognizing that success isn't just about arriving at a destination. It's about the person you're becoming along the way. It's about understanding that joy isn't something you find later. It's something you create now, in the little moments, in the small victories, in the simple everyday experiences that so many take for granted. When you start practicing presence, you begin to see things differently. You notice the people in your life more deeply. You appreciate the work you're doing instead of just pushing through it. You recognize the progress you've made instead of only focusing on how far you have to go. You realize that the very things you used to dream about are now part of your reality, and instead of rushing past them, you allow yourself to fully experience and appreciate them. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is learning to be where your feet are. That means fully engaging in the moment, whether you're working toward a goal, spending time with loved ones, or simply going through your daily routine. Instead of always looking ahead, take a breath and ground yourself in the now. When you do this, you start to realize that life isn't just about chasing after something. It's about learning to appreciate what's already here. Don't overlook the simple foundational aspects of life. Relationships, health, and daily growth are the bread that supports your dreams. Too many people spend their lives chasing after big success, but they fail to recognize the small things that sustain them along the way. They are so focused on reaching their goals that they neglect the very elements that give them strength, energy, and purpose. It's like trying to build a skyscraper without first laying a solid foundation. No matter how high you aim, without a strong base, everything eventually crumbles. In a world obsessed with achievement, people often sacrifice their well-being, their relationships, and even their personal growth in the name of success. They work long hours, chasing wealth and status, thinking that these are the things that will bring them happiness. But they don't realize that success without health is worthless, that wealth without meaningful relationships is empty, and that status without personal fulfillment is nothing more than an illusion. True success isn't about how much you achieve, it's about how well you sustain yourself along the way. Relationships are one of the most overlooked aspects of success. Many people push away family, friends, and loved ones in pursuit of their ambitions, thinking they'll have time to reconnect once they've made it. But success is meaningless if you have no one to share it with. The people in your life are not distractions, they are part of your foundation. They provide support when you stumble, encouragement when you doubt yourself, and perspective when you lose sight of what really matters. Without strong relationships, even the highest levels of success can feel lonely and unfulfilling. Think about the people who truly support you, the ones who believe in you, who show up for you, who challenge you to be better. These connections are invaluable, but they must be nurtured. If you neglect them, they wither away. A career can be rebuilt, money can be regained, but lost relationships are not always easy to repair. No matter how ambitious you are, never forget to invest in the people who matter most. They are not obstacles to your success. They are part of the foundation that keeps you standing. Health is another crucial pillar that people often take for granted. Many sacrifice sleep, skip meals, and ignore their physical and mental well-being, all in the name of productivity. They push themselves to exhaustion, believing that rest is a luxury they can't afford. But what they fail to realize is that their body and mind are their greatest assets. If you don't take care of them, everything else suffers. Imagine trying to run a marathon without fueling your body properly. No matter how strong your mindset is, your body will eventually shut down. The same applies to life. You can't sustain long-term success if you're constantly running on empty. Eating well, exercising, getting enough sleep, and managing stress aren't just side concerns. They are essential components of achieving your goals. They give you the energy, clarity, and endurance to keep pushing forward. Mental health is just as important as physical health. Stress, anxiety, and burnout are real threats to success. Yet so many people ignore the warning signs. They think they can power through, that taking breaks or seeking help is a sign of weakness. But in reality, recognizing when you need to pause, reflect, or recharge is one of the greatest strengths you can have. Success is not about working yourself to the point of collapse. It's about building a life that is both fulfilling and sustainable. Daily growth is another piece of the foundation that often goes unnoticed. Many people are so focused on big achievements that they ignore the small daily improvements that lead to real progress. They want instant success, overnight transformations, massive breakthroughs. But true growth happens gradually, in the small choices you make every day. Reading, learning, practicing a skill, challenging yourself. These are the habits that build long-term success. A tree doesn't grow tall overnight. It takes years of steady nourishment, deepening roots, and exposure to different seasons. Personal development works the same way. If you neglect your growth, you may achieve temporary success, but you won't be able to sustain it. The most successful people aren't just the ones who reach great heights. They are the ones who continue to evolve, adapt, and improve themselves along the way. Many people chase external rewards, money, recognition, power, without realizing that real wealth lies in how well they take care of themselves and the people around them. Relationships, health, and daily growth may not always bring immediate gratification, but they are the things that create lasting success. They are the bread that nourishes you, keeps you grounded, and gives you the strength to pursue your biggest dreams. Big achievements are made up of small, consistent actions. Never underestimate the power of the daily grind. Too often, people get caught up in chasing major breakthroughs, believing that success comes from one defining moment, one grand opportunity, or one lucky break. But the truth is, success is built on the foundation of small, steady steps taken every single day. The people who achieve the most in life are not necessarily the ones with the most talent, the most resources, or the best connections. They are the ones who commit to the process, who show up daily, and who put in the work even when no one is watching. Many people give up on their goals because they don't see immediate results. They expect quick progress, fast rewards, and instant success. When things don't happen as fast as they want, they become discouraged and quit. What they fail to understand is that the small actions they take today may not show visible results right away, but they are laying the groundwork for future success. Every repetition, every practice session, every effort invested is like planting a seed. You may not see growth immediately, but over time, those seeds will sprout into something meaningful. The problem is that people often focus too much on the destination and not enough on the journey. They set big goals, but when they don't achieve them quickly, they lose motivation. They compare themselves to others who are further ahead and feel like they're falling behind. But what they don't see is the years of effort, discipline, and sacrifice that those successful individuals put in before they reached their breakthrough. No one sees the late nights, the early mornings, the failures, and the setbacks that came before the success. Small steps may seem insignificant in a moment, but compounded over time, they create unstoppable momentum. Imagine someone who wants to get in shape. They might start working out, but after a few weeks, they don't see major changes, so they quit. What they don't realize is that if they had stuck with it, those small daily workouts would have eventually transformed their body. The same principle applies to every area of life: business, relationships, personal development, and financial success. The small, consistent efforts you make today will lead to major results down the line. One of the greatest examples of this is the power of compounding. In finance, compound interest allows money to grow exponentially over time, even if the initial investment is small. The same applies to personal growth and success. Every time you invest in yourself, whether it's learning a new skill, practicing a craft, or improving a habit, you are compounding your progress. At first, the growth seems slow, almost unnoticeable. But over time, as the efforts build upon each other, the results become undeniable. This is why persistence is so important. Many people give up too soon, not realizing how close they were to a breakthrough. They stop digging just before they strike gold. They abandon their dreams just before their efforts start paying off. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't always talent or intelligence. It's the ability to keep going when others stop. Discipline plays a key role in this process. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is what keeps you moving forward. There will be days when you don't feel like putting in the work, when you doubt yourself, when progress feels slow. But if you commit to small, consistent actions every day, even when you don't feel like it, you will eventually see results. Think about the greatest athletes, artists, and entrepreneurs. They didn't reach the top overnight. They built their success through years of daily practice, refining their skills, learning from failures, and staying committed to the process. They understood that success is not about waiting for the perfect moment, but about making progress every single day. People often make the mistake of thinking they need to take huge leaps to be successful, but in reality, it's the small, incremental improvements that lead to the biggest transformations. If you improve by just 1% every day, the cumulative effect over time will be massive. Success is not about waiting for the big opportunity or the perfect conditions. It's about consistently taking action, no matter how small, and trusting that those actions will add up. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and believing in the process. The people who achieve great things are the ones who understand that big wins are simply the result of small, consistent efforts stacked over time. Stop focusing solely on the destination. Embrace the lessons, challenges, and victories that come along the way. Too many people live with the mindset that happiness and fulfillment will only come once they reach a certain level of success. They believe that once they get the promotion, make the money, buy the house, or accomplish their goal, then they will finally be satisfied. But the truth is, if you don't learn to appreciate the journey, you will never truly enjoy the destination. The problem with always looking ahead is that it causes you to overlook the growth happening in the present. Every step you take, every challenge you face, and every setback you overcome is shaping you into the person you need to become. Success is not just about reaching the finish line. It's about who you become in the process. The struggles you endure build your resilience. The failures you experience teach you valuable lessons. The small victories along the way remind you of how far you've come. If you ignore these moments, you miss the true value of the journey. People often think that achieving their goal will bring them lasting happiness. But time and time again, those who reach the top realize that the joy was never in the achievement itself, but in the process of getting there. Once they accomplish one goal, they immediately set another, always chasing something new, always feeling like there's something more. This endless pursuit can leave people feeling empty, even when they've achieved everything they once dreamed of. That's why learning to appreciate the journey is so important. When you embrace the journey, you stop seeing challenges as obstacles and start seeing them as opportunities for growth. Every difficulty you face is preparing you for something greater. The setbacks, the failures, the moments of doubt, all of these experiences are necessary because they teach you lessons that success alone never could. People who try to avoid struggle or rush through the process miss out on the strength and wisdom that comes from overcoming adversity. There's a reason why the most inspiring success stories involve struggle. Nobody is moved by the story of someone who had everything handed to them. But when you hear about someone who faced countless rejections, who failed over and over again but refused to quit, who kept pushing forward despite the odds, those are the stories that inspire because they remind us that the journey matters. Success isn't just about the result. It's about the process of getting there. Many people spend their lives in a constant state of waiting for the perfect opportunity, waiting for the right conditions, waiting for a sign that it's time to take action. But the truth is there is no perfect time. The journey begins the moment you decide to start. If you're always focused on the future, you miss the present. And the present is where the real work happens. The present is where you build, where you grow, where you lay the foundation for the success you desire. Gratitude plays a huge role in embracing the journey. When you learn to appreciate where you are right now, you shift your perspective. Instead of seeing how far you have to go, you start recognizing how far you've already come. You begin to celebrate small wins, find joy in the process, and develop a deeper sense of fulfillment. Gratitude allows you to enjoy the work, not just the reward. It helps you stay motivated because you're not just chasing after something, you're finding meaning in what you're doing right now. One of the biggest mistakes people make is rushing through life, always looking for the next thing. They grind endlessly, thinking that once they reach a certain milestone, they can finally relax and be happy. But life doesn't work that way. If you don't learn to find joy in the process, you'll always be chasing something new, never feeling truly satisfied. That's why the most successful people are not just those who achieve great things, but those who learn to enjoy the path that leads them there. The journey is where you find your strength. It's where you develop